claim a horse out of the trials.
Yeah, $7,500 tag.
Yeah, I mean, a couple weeks later, wheel it back and, win the stakes race. That's what Carl Moore did last year with SLP Mighty High. After that win out here in the Battle of the Breed Stakes, horse did okay. I mean, kind of never really picked up those wins, didn't really hit the board much, but got back on the track on the 14th of October right here. Got back in those winning ways, won by a length and a quarter in that race. I'm hoping this horse, this 9-year-old gelding, is back on track, and I think we'll see this horse come in on top tonight. Number 1, LBD, that's going to be my second choice. You got to look back to July at Retama to find the last win for this horse. But that was only 4 starts ago. It was at this distance. And if you look at how LBD has done at Lone Star Park, I mean, has a win out here at this distance as well. That came in October of last year. I think that this horse could be a good one from the inside rail. And then number 2, El Corona Zoom is going to be my third choice here. This horse has a win at 550 recently. Has only run 870 yards once. That was the start 2 back. Finished third in that one. So hopefully that experience going the distance is going to help out El Corona Zoom. And I think his horse could get up and hit the board tonight.
One note about the one-horse LBD, he is blinkers off. That was a change that did not make the program, but we'll be announcing it. Number 1, LBD takes the blinkers off. I'm with SLP Mighty High as well. This horse, at least of late, seems to love Lone Star Park. I mean, he's won 7 races on this racetrack. He's won almost half of his starts here. I'm guessing most have been going around the turn, although he may go all the way back to the days he was a straightaway runner. Wouldn't it be funny if Carl Broberg came out tonight and claimed this horse back away from Carl Moore and Karen Jacks, who claimed him last year away from Broberg. But he's got speed. I just think he's the sharpest and the best in here. He's the one to beat in my eyes for sure. There's 3 thoroughbreds in here: Beta Capo Song, Detective Bernardo, and Cold Snack 30. This is the Battle of the Breeds, so it's thoroughbreds and quarters. Cold Snack 30 is intriguing. Comes in from Prairie. He's never raced here. He's a 10-time winner from 56 starts. He should be rolling late, but late running, sprinting thoroughbreds against quarters. I took a couple of them last year. I was disappointed, but he was claimed away from Zachary Quesada out of his last start, and yet Quesada still has him. So it doesn't indicate a voided claim. They must have bought him back, so that's a good sign. I took him second over Beta Capo Song, who is another one that he's 0 for 12 on this track, but he likes to win races. 4th race, another of our Battle of the Breeds 870 trials.
So I'll take one of the thoroughbreds here in this spot.
Yeah,
I'll take
too.
number 1, Texas Thunder. This horse has been one that shows some speed. I mean, looking back through these past performances, seems like this horse always has that big number 1 at every call throughout the races. I think Texas Thunder having some speed coming from the rail. I think this is a good one to watch here. My top choice in race number 4. Number 2, Running for Rain. That's going to be my second selection here. This horse was a winner at 870 last time out, came over our track. I love horses that do well at the distance on our track. 3 wins overall at this distance, as a matter of fact. That's Running for Rain. And then number 6, Love to Zoom, is going to be my third choice here. Another one that's had a lot of experience at 870, 24 different races at this distance, and has hit the board in 9 of those, 12 of those 24. So 50% of the time, Love to Zoom has been able to hit the board at this 870-yard distance. Had a win at this distance, 3 starts back. That came at Sam Houston this year. I think this is one that can get up in the top 3 tonight.
Yeah, I've got him third as well. Texas Thunder, to me, has speed, has the rail. Being a thoroughbred, she's going to be really tested by some of these early speed quarter horses. I mean, thoroughbred speed and quarter horse speed don't usually match up. The quarter horse is usually quicker for a little while, but I think she can. It doesn't show that she can really sit and rally, but I think being a thoroughbred, bred to go a little bit farther than normal, I think even if she gets out sprinted for the lead, she might be able to work out a pretty good trip there from the inside. Flying Charlie is my second pick. His record doesn't blow you away of late. He doesn't look like he's really in the best form, but he's been facing really nice horses. That 870 that he's coming out of was a really tough spot. Admittedly, he ran 6th out of 8 in there. And then some of those other horses he's been running against back in the summer were really tough. problem with him is he's mired outside once again. He doesn't have a whole lot of speed, so he's liable to be wide, but I took him second over Love to Zoom. The reason I didn't take Running for Rain higher in that race, by the way, is, I mean, if he doesn't get the lead, he just seems to pack it in. He doesn't appear to be able to pass anybody. That could change tonight, but that's why I used him fourth. On to the fifth. This is our final Battle of the Breeds claiming trial.
So CJ's Rock Hard and Ready, the 5-horse. This is the one that looks interesting to me here in this spot. Ton of experience for the 5. I mean, 52 different races at 870 yards. That's quite a bit. And you can see every race that I have in my program, all of them at 870.
Yeah. All 13 of his wins in his career have been at 870
as well. And, I mean, looking back through the PPs for this year, I mean, the horse has been solid. Has finished in the money in 6 of 8, has 3 wins. One of those coming just 2 starts back. That was at Retama Park. Probably facing a little bit lesser field than we have here, but you know what? I'll go ahead and give a nod to CJ's Rock Hard and Ready here. Over the 6, don't blame Dexter. This is going to be a horse that I pick here. This is one of those thoroughbreds. This horse was in the Battle of the Breeds last year. And if you look, I mean, this horse ran in a couple stakes races at Gillespie. Mr. Moneybags, Algebra, just beaten behind them. We know those are some solid thoroughbreds. We've seen that this horse can show some speed if you look back to the races at Sam Houston last year. So I'll go ahead and roll the dice on one that's a 10-1 morning line here in this 5th race. And then I'll take number 1, Gone Paradise, as my third choice. I mean, just like the other ones. I mean, this horse shows some speed coming out of the gate. Now, he's run a bunch of races at Bally's, Arapahoe, Fauner Park. We'll see how that translates here. Not too confident on him, but especially at 9-5. But I know you got the horse picked on top. So,
yeah, I didn't mention the thoroughbreds in the previous race, did I? Texas Thunder in the previous race was the only thoroughbred actually in that previous race we just talked about. That was the horse that I took on top. Did you take Texas
we both
Thunder
got
on top?
Texas Thunder on top.
The thoroughbreds in this race are Gone Paradise, Running Jesse, and Don't Blame Dexter. The 1, 2, 6 are the thoroughbreds in here. I'm on Gone Paradise too. If this race were run last night, Gone Paradise instead of 9-5 might be 4-5 because he absolutely loves the slop. He's won or been second 6 of 8 times on off tracks. He's been super sharp. The thing that worries me about him, I'm taking him because he's sharp and he's fast and he's got the rail, but it worries me a little. I don't know whether this big uptick in form in that last race was more a sloppy track thing or just the fact that this is a thoroughbred that can go 870. If it's a sloppy track thing, we're not going to have that tonight. So that almost convinced me to pick CJ's Rock Hard and Ready. But I like the fact this horse has worked. He hasn't raced in about 5 weeks or so. He's only 1 for 19 on dry dirt. That scares me a little bit. But I'm going to take him over CJ's Rock Hard and Ready, really in his element. This is his game. He's very good at it. I watched his last race, and I just wasn't impressed. Now, sometimes I watch races, and I'm not impressed, and they just come right out and whistle. You can't judge everything by the eye test. He just loomed and looked like he was a sure winner at about the 70-yard pole and wound up not getting by the leader that day. So I'm going to take a chance, take him second over Steve's Classy Jess. Now we move on to some other trials. The StallionEsearch.com Claimers Cup, the middle ground trial. We had the 110-yard dash trials last night. These are 300-yard trials.
So I'll go with the morning line favorite here, number 1, Ray Donovan. This is a horse I think I've picked twice so far this year. He's run second on me both times. Horse has actually had 3 consecutive second-place finishes in a row, dating back to August at Retama Park, but did pick up a win in July, broke its maiden then. I mean, the horse has been last 2 were at this 300 yards. I mean, the horse has been right there in that second for those 3 races. I think this horse picks up another W tonight. That's number 1, Ray Donovan. Number 5, Galaxy Check is going to be my second choice. It's another one that's been right there. Horse has picked up, has had a pretty good year out of the 4 starts, a couple wins. You look, won at Remington Park back in March, went over to New Mexico, the Downs at Albuquerque, picked up a win there. Came over here to Lone Star on the 22nd of October. Ran a solid second in that one. Ended up improving the placing as the race got a little bit longer. That was only 250 yards, so adding 50 yards on tonight might all work out for Galaxy Check. And then number 2, Mighty Be Faster is going to be my third choice. Last 2, this horse was right up there as well. Both of those being here on our track. 1, 2 starts back, missed by a neck last time out at 300. We'll see if this filly can't repeat that performance and get up and hit the board once again.
I'm on Ray Donovan as well, not just because I really like Liev Schreiber either. I just think this horse is so sharp. He's had a tremendous year. He was a great claim by Juan Diaz Jr. He's done great in his care. He's really sharp. The inside's been good. I like Ray Donovan a lot in here. Galaxy Check, though, is also in really good form. It comes out of a dynamite race. I took Sparky Kazam third. This horse dropping out of Texas-bred allowance races. Oklahoma-bred allowance races coming from Will Rogers. This has been an Oklahoma horse. It's an Oklahoma-bred. Has been competing pretty well north of the border. So I'm going to take him third and hopefully get a little price. One note about the 6th race, the 6 Legs La Scoop is scratched. 7th race, we've got a couple of scratches. Scratch the 4 Kiss My Shazoom and scratch the 7. The morning line favorite, SS Fancy Wagon. This is another of the middle ground Stallion Esearch claiming trials.
Yeah, I'll go with the horse on the outside, number 8 LC Tapatio. We've seen this horse out here twice so far, once at 350, once at 250, so going to split the difference right in the middle tonight and go 300. Both those races out here were pretty decent, had a win at the 350, third at the 250. That was the most recent race. I think LC Tapatio is going to be ready to rock and roll tonight. It's my horse on top. Number 5, RT Solid Country Gold, is going to be my next pick. This horse was a winner up in Oklahoma last time out. Has a couple wins so far this year, a couple seconds out of 6 starts. Has a couple wins at this 300-yard distance, too. Never been on the track out here at Lone Star Park, so we'll see what the 5 can do tonight. And then number 2, Miss Kit Kat is going to be my third choice. A couple close-up races in a row, both of them out here, both of them at this distance, so I'll put a check mark by the 2 here as well.
Yeah, we have the same top 4, actually, after the scratch. I was originally not going to try to beat SS Fancy Wagon. I originally had LC Tapatio pick second, but I scratch into him, and I'm fine with that. He ran a really nice race. I picked him at 4-1 last time, and he only missed by a neck in a big driving finish that involved at least 4 runners, all about a half length apart or so, or 3/4 of a length apart. I was going to go against him here because SS Fancy Wagon looked a little too speedy, but I'm on LC over the supplemental entry here, and then Miss Kit Kat. You can't blame a quarter horse in a really short race for getting nosed out, but she has a remarkable ability to get out-photoed. I mean, you look back down there a little bit, she ran twice in a row, lost by a nose. I mean, how desperate is that? The head bobs just haven't gone her way, but she's always right there. Let's advance to the 8th. By the way, that 7th race begins the pick 6. It's on races 7 through 12. The pick 5 begins with the 8th race. Maiden 2-year-old fillies here. This race limited to 2-year-old fillies, and they're going a quick 250 yards.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble picking a winner in this one. Yeah. I ended up on the morning line favorite, Flash and Dash. 4 starts for this filly. Last one, horse ran a good third out here over our track. Missing by half a length, put together a good second before that at Retama Park. I don't know, I think this horse, the luck goes her way tonight. She picks up the win. Number 4, One Significant Hero is going to be my second choice. This horse ran in a trial last time out at Ruidoso Downs, was well beaten in that one, beaten by 3.5. 2 races before that against maidens over there in New Mexico. I mean, a solid seconds in both of those. I love those horses that are shipping in, that come and make their first start at Lone Star from after being out at Ruidoso. I think One Significant Hero can have a good run. And then I took the 9, Trace My Fame, as my third choice. First time starter for Trey Wood. I know his horses can fire out of the gate. Had a decent workout on the 2nd of November, not that long ago, 3 of 15 on the morning. Horse should be ready to rock and roll here in the 8th.
Wood won a pair last night. I've got him picked a little bit later on a long shot first-timer. I didn't use Trace My Fame, but I wrestled with this race because as soon as they crossed the wire on October 8th in the Ion Panama race, and I picked her at 6-5, I immediately got on my virtual stable and reminded myself to try to beat her the next time she ran because she was fractious, she was kind of rank. She just looked like a bad actor, and I really thought she could almost fall over and win that race, but she didn't. But now she shortens, only has to go 250. She was still competitive the other day, and the barn was very cold then. Santos Carrizales, who just lit up the Texas Classic Trials, that really woke up his barn and has been good since. But, he couldn't win early in the meet, and she was one of the ones that had trouble with, getting that barn off the duck. So I'm going to take her and hope that she runs more like she did on September 24th when she was 10-1 to Flash and Dash's 2-1. Flash and Dash, that was her last race, was September 24th. Ion Panama was in that race and has had a race since. Ion Panama ran a really nice race to Flash and Dash on the 24th, but then again, as I mentioned, followed up with a clunker. I'm going to split those two with one significant hero. I think she could run a really nice race for Monte Rosa here, and ran some, nice maiden events at Ruidoso. So I took it 8-4-2. Flash and Dash makes the most sense, but sometimes the ones that make the most sense don't win. So on to the ninth. Scratch number 7, A Secret to Catch. These are Colton Gelding 2-year-olds going 250.
All right. Hopefully I found one here that they're going to get some pretty good value on. Number 3, Leanin' Anya. So this horse has been in 3 races this year, all of them coming up in Iowa at Prairie Meadows. The most recent race was a 250-yard race like we're going tonight. Finished a solid third of that one, missing by a neck. Horse has had one workout since then that came over our track. Posted a bullet workout back on the 14th of October, 1 of 10 on the morning. I'll go ahead and roll the dice and take a shot with Leanin' Anya. I mean, Jose Guadalupe Cruz, the trainer that's on here now. 3 wins out of 4 starts, right?
Yeah, now but the context of that is he got the John Steinbow horses. John Steinbow evidently asked by the state of New Mexico to take a couple of weeks off, so Steinbow has not been able to run horses for a certain period of time. And so Guadalupe Cruz has taken over those, and they were firing last week.
Not a bad barn to take over for a mandated vacation, right?
Exactly.
So Leanin' Anya, I think this horse is you're going to get some decent odds on this one as they fire out of the gate. Could be one to make you smile on this Saturday night. Number 8, VF Jessa Shakin is going to be my second choice. This horse crossed the finish line first last time out, ended up being DQ'd and placed 10th in that race, but this horse out of these 6 starts has had some stewards' decisions involved.
He's a trouble
3
magnet.
times.
He runs into whether it's his fault or not. He gets little check marks all the time.
The last one was definitely his fault, being pushed back to 10th in that race. But some of these other ones, the horse ran some pretty good maiden races at Houston and Retama this year. I would rather go against this horse in this spot. That's why I picked the 3 instead. But I give this horse a little bit of a chance to get up for the top 3. And then number 5, Durant, is going to be my third choice. Trey Wood, second-time starter for him. I love his horses. I think they come out firing a lot. 15-1 morning line on this horse. Has that one start of experience. We'll see what happens. It was wiped out last time at the start. It's what the comment says. So a better start this time. This horse could leave them all in the dust.
I lean toward an upset in this one as well, but I'm taking the outside. It's a mild upset in Grand Fire GL. I think this horse will love 250. If this weren't a 12-race card and we had a little more time, I'd show his last race because, he did very briefly vie, but that was a tough trial. That was a Texas Classic trial with Revenant Inside, Rink. Those are really nice horses, and he competed with them for a little while on the slop before backing out of it, but he also got roughed up a little bit between horses, and his earlier races against maidens were quite good. Good barn. I'm going to take Grand Fire GL over VF Jessa Shakin, who I think is the most talented, but he never runs straight. At least he hasn't so far. I'm gonna take a shot here for third with Do Right. This is kind of like my answer to Durant, or Durant, as some people in Durant pronounce it. Do Right, son of DuPonte, hasn't done anything yet, but in his Texas Classic trial, he was well beaten in a huge long shot behind Fancy Scarface and had trouble. And Fancy Scarface made the final. He qualified 10th. I just have a feeling that Wes Giles isn't starting this horse just to have him test the lights here. I think Do Right. Watch the tote on him. 10th race. This is a raffle. One thing I will note, Rick Lee wanted me to point out that there was a typographical error on the morning line for the 9 First Award. These are maiden 2-year-old fillies. The 9 First Award should have been listed as 20-1, not 2-1. She is not the morning line favorite here. She is 20-1 on the line, not 2-1. And regardless, this is a wide open contest. Hey, are you on the 2?
I am on the
How
2.
about that?
I was looking at that.
Well, there's Trey Wood.
So,
won a couple last night.
Like you said, being wide open, I thought there was a lot of different ways that you could go here. Didn't necessarily like a bunch of the horses.
Right, me
had
too,
some
and that's why I
experience.
looked for somebody else. The ones that have run, to me, just didn't excite me.
Right, and then I saw Apolitical Corona, a son of the world champion Apolitical Jess, trained by Trey Wood, first-time starter, 12-1 morning line odds. I said, man, there's some things clicking for this horse to possibly make some money. I'll take this first-time starter on top. Number 1, first-place Cartel. That's going to be my second choice here. Coming from the inside rail, I think this horse can have a good run at 250 yards. Had a couple trials back at Rotama earlier this year. The most recent race was right here at 350. Finished 5th in that race, but was only beaten by 3/4. I'll give a shot to number 1, a first-place Cartel. And then the 6, Hope for Dynasty, is going to be my third selection. 3 starts for this horse. Last 2 were both 4ths, but that last one came at 250, was only beaten by half a length. I got to make room in there for a hope for a Dynasty. So I got it 2, 1, and 6 here in the 10th.
Only thing I'll note extra about Apolitica Corona, her dam, Corona Carmelita, was a pretty nice mare. But the thing I liked about looking up Corona Carmelita, even though she didn't run as a 2-year-old, when she did debut, she won her first 2 outs and 3 of her first 4. And she was in races like the Ruidoso and Rainbow Derby trials back when she debuted at 3 in New Mexico. That's the dam of Apolitica Corona. So I like to see that precociousness, even though she didn't debut as a 2-year-old, and her daughter here is, plus Apolitical Jess. What can you say about him? So I'm giving her a shot because I just don't think the ones that have been to the races are world beaters. My second pick is Hope for a Dynasty, and then I have Tiffany Twisted as a third pick. Hasn't been out since August, but ran much better when they added blinkers for her in August at Rotama. Ran a really nice 4th, lapped on the winner at the end. And I'm going to give her a shot for third. On to the 11th. An allowance. 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3. I think this race is super wide open. Scratch the 10, Mo Delirio.
Give me the number 8, One Handsome Jess V. Couple close-ups the last 2 races. Picked up a win at Ruidoso back on the 28th of August. Left there, came over here in the middle of October. Ran a solid second, missing by a nose in that race right here. I think One Handsome Jess V. Last time out, this horse drew the outside. I think he's got a better post position tonight. I'd love to see this horse get in the winner's circle tonight. That's the number 8. I got 7 Dancer's Pass as my second choice here. Winner of back-to-back races, both of them right out here at Lone Star Park. One of my favorite combinations in Almanza, Ricardo Garza Cruz. I think there's a lot to like about these guys. Out of 5 races this year, has 2 wins and 2 seconds out of those 5 starts. And then the 12 is going to be my third choice, Wagons Moving First. Back-to-back winners for this horse as well. We'll see what happens for the second start over our track. This year, that's the 12 Wagons Moving First. I got an 8, 7, and 12 in the 11th.
I'm going to try to light it up. You might have seen me reacting with, weird grimaces. There was a scratch in an earlier race that we talked about extensively. I'll tell you about it in a second. I'm going to try to light it up. I'm going for 3 from Steph Curry territory on this race with the 9, Ashley's Rocket Man. This horse was 7-2 last time in an October 15th race that featured a lot of this cast and ran 8th. It was a blanket, absolute cavalry charge finish. It was only beaten a length and a quarter, got off well, but was buried inside. And just like I vowed to never pick Ion Panama again and broke that rule, I got on the computer immediately after that race. The rail was not the place to be on October 15th. And I thought Ashley's Rocket Man got out of there decently. And I'm not saying the track beat the horse. That's ridiculous. The track is not that, the track's been fine. But the rail wasn't great that day, and I'm going to give this horse a shot at a price. Ashley's Gold Digger, the dam, was an absolute star up in Oklahoma for a while. This horse was bet really hard coming off a layoff since the spring in that last race. He was 7-2, and I was thinking, wow, why is he getting bet so hard? So obviously they thought he'd run well, and he really didn't, but I'm taking the Rocket Man over Handsome Jess V, and El Capone is going to be my third pick. Now, before we wrap it up, let's go back to the fourth race, one of these Battle of the Breeds trials, and we'll take out our number 1 filly, Texas Thunder.
Oh.
So now I'm stuck with that outside horse that Flying Charlie is who I scratch into now, but the 1 Texas Thunder in race 4 is scratched. She was that quick filly starting from the inside. That's too bad. Not because we picked her, but just it would have made it a little more interesting race. 12th and final. Super high 5, $13,310 carryover, full field of 12.
Yeah, give me the 8, Send Her Candy. Horse has had a good year, 5 starts, has hit the board in 4 of those 5 starts, including picking up a win. That was 2 starts back at Retama Park. Most recent race was a good second. Horse made up a lot of ground at 350 yards to get that second. I got this horse picked on top. Number 6, She's a Sweet Gypsy is going to be my second choice here. Lost by 3/4 of a length last time out at 350. Race before that at 300. Almost got up for the win, missed by a nose in that one. Those last 2 races, both of them coming on our track out here, I think it's going to set up well for She's a Sweet Gypsy. And then number 11, 5-Bar Lady is going to be my third pick. I mean, this horse has, never finished out of the exacta. I mean, 5 starts lifetime, has a win, a couple seconds, and a couple thirds. That win coming 2 starts back on the 20th of August. Most recent race was a third out here, the non-winners of 2 allowance race. Led that race at one point, looking at the book here, and ended up getting beaten by half a length. That's 5-Bar Lady, the 11. I got it 8, 6, and 11.
Yeah, I'm on the 11 for third as well. I mean, you got to love her compete level. 5 races, has been never worse than third. I went with She's a Sweet Gypsy, your second pick. I'm going to take on top. Again, Santos Carrizales' stable has heated way up, which is where you would expect it to be. And she ran when the barn was not as hot and still ran pretty well in a race at this level, a non-winners of 2 allowance level. And ran a pretty good race that day, despite being fractious at the gate. So hopefully they can smooth that out. And she's had about a month to recuperate from that. So I'm going to take a shot on her over Send Her Candy. In my opinion, Send Her Candy's, she's just, what's the word? I want to be polite, but appropriate. She's erratic. Let's put it that way. She's kind of like a diva wide receiver that just kind of does her own thing. She's only been to the post 5 times and has been fractious or unruly in the paddock twice, including the last time. She was fractious in the paddock, came out and still ran really, really well. But she's had paddock issues before, bumping problems. She's the best filly in here, and you and Rick both have her. So when you guys both pick somebody in the last race and I don't, you usually win. But, talented but erratic. I'm going to go with She's a Sweet Gypsy over her. So we'll see. The latter part of the card, I felt like taking some chances. So I was unloading some bombs from downtown there at the end. All right. Time to move on. We are 27 minutes away from post for the first. Rodney will have his previews from down here. I'll be heading upstairs. Thanks a lot for looking in. Track condition fast. Good luck on your Saturday selections.
First home here at Lone Star Park at Grand Prix. Sellers' third victory in tonight's end.